walking this journey with over these past 18 years, Shri and I are always the first ones to put it out there. And that's because that's who we are and what we do. And many, many years ago, when Archangel Zadkiel literally worked with us intensively every day, day after day after day, for months at a time, early days at Tosa Ranch, the purpose for being, Shri would often ask, and it was really revealed that the purpose of being for the yoga of self-ascension is to listen, to love, and to hold the space for enlightenment. It's just that simple, and it's just that complex. And so Shri and I today, as part of this resurrection energy, and we're going to be talking a little bit right now about this convergence over here. And Shri, I think you and I should do this so they can see that we are really, Shri, Shri's Pappy Easter. There we are. All right. We wanted you to see the beauty, right? The rainbow of this beautiful energy that's coming in right now, and to see it. And we're going to talk about it and how, all right, my angel, come back.
I'm back.
We'll be like the unified pillar. Here, I'll scooch.
Yeah, we're good.
There we go. Here, we can. There we are. All right. So, Shri, are you ready to join us now?
I am. It's been an interesting moment.
You know, it really has. And thank all of you for holding presence. I was trying to get messages in as many of the chats as possible. But this is a moment where let's just take a deep breath right now together. Let's just bring your hand to your heart. And say welcome to the divine presence of you, to the divine presence of this moment. This resurrection, this day of resurrection that carries so many beautiful names, one energy, unlimited voices, yes, unlimited expressions. Yes. But this is a day that celebrates life, the life of creation, the life of being, the opportunity to awaken, the opportunity to ascend into a divine experience of that which we took birth to be. And yes, so before we go any further with all of these powerful overlays, Shri and I wanted to first talk about the dates. Now, Shri, I'm not sure. I don't want to touch bringing up a slide, but can we bring up the April?
We're good.
All right. So let's bring up the April energy right there. All right, guys. So we wanted to really share what's happening right now because this is an energy of convergence. And in this energy of convergence, what's opening is this expansion or contraction. And if you look at the April 8, right here on the April 2020 up-level calendar, okay, the first thing is from the beings of crystalline light, we had already seen and known that in this April energy, confusion or clarity are the energies of this moment. And they are a choice, right? We are in a visionary transformation through timeline adaptation. So we had the 444 energy, which was a profound moment across this planet. And that built us up to the second, which was the peak super full moon on the 8th. That was also, of course, the first day of Passover. So through that super full moon, this energy of illumination, of ascension, of moving into a state beyond that which could hurt you, opened in a very great, profound manner. Now, remember that Shri and I, as we're going to be sharing everything today, Shri and I are 100% non-dogmatic. We really do not even look at dogma. What we are blessed with our experience is we are always noticing the experience in the love through the sacred literature of another tradition or all traditions, which we've read almost all, I believe, through that, through the energy of the people we meet. We've had the blessing to be worldwide and be and pray and connect with people of every faith and tradition, yes, just about. Yes. And so what we offer to you is the heart we have discovered. And so on the 8th, not only did this second peak, remember, this was the peak of the energies. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, please go watch our past few radio shows. We've got this all out there. But it was the peak of this moment. We have one more super full moon. That final super full moon will happen in Ramadan. And what's so beautiful is that we are currently in that 7-day Passover experience at that ascended presence of we are able to be in our ascended presence, to have the ability to lift, to let the sacrifice of the ego be that which protects us. And so it's very, very beautiful that that healing light is all around us right now. And then that's going to be here. And we have today an amplification that you are now also in that amplified ascended light. You're being given the keys to the kingdom. You're being shown that you can really fly free. And then as we move into the illuminated new moon, that's when Ramadan begins, where this 30 days of divine fasting. I mean, it's actually, I put it up here, Ramadan Kareem, which is very, very literally the fasting, the month of fasting. And so in that month of fasting, again, can we take the energy of the right now, of the sacrifice of the ego into the ascended gateway, and then allow the fast to be a month of creation without the ego interfering? Wow, massive energy, guys. And that all comes in that final super full moon in May. So today is a critical moment. Yes. You know, the whole month is. Remember, guys, this is peak. And when you hear today's message, Shri and I are still even digesting it, guys. Yeah. We really are.
Yeah, we're at a beautiful convergence.
Oh, yes.
Because not only have many great religious traditions called forward a focus that is intersecting. It's part and parcel of our earthly DNA.
Exactly.
And so we are indeed at a moment where there is an energy that can help launch you. There is an energy that can help resurrect your purest intentions. Yeah. Because the resurrection is about claiming the higher consciousness. No matter what language we use, there is always an element that says, I'm lifting into greater surrender, greater God communion, greater divine expression. Well, I celebrate that. Let's do it. Let's be it. And because that is our deeper truth.
Now, I want to read an email that came in because it really takes you and I, you know, today is, guys, we feel very much that this is our service that we offer every Sunday, is this 2 hours of community coming together and connection. And I did just want to also say that for those of you that might be saying, wow, Kira Ra, we love your Master Lady Kira Ra dress, right? I wish I could show you the rest of this. Well, thanks, Susan Sturdivant. Susan bought this for me in Egypt. And is this so beautiful? I'm not sure where in Egypt she bought it from. If she's in the chat, you could ask her over at probably YouTube if she's here. But I just wanted to share with you that as I was going through my closet to prepare to be with all of you today, Shri and I, we have been with the Divine Directors pretty much all morning. And this poor man, he's been trying to talk to me and I'm like, I'm not even here. It's been a fascinating moment. But we've had this big Egypt thing coming forward right now. And I want you to show them what happened yesterday up in the caves before we go any further.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, Shri and I went up to the caves. You know, we're very blessed to have these meditation caves right here in the Andes. And it's so hot here right now because it's our summer that we like going up to the caves. It's cool and the incredible energy that's happening. But yesterday, Shri, you had what I believe, guys, was the opening for this moment right now. And that's why we're sharing it with you.
Yeah, yesterday.
And why I'm wearing this.
We had a divine moment. You know, as Kira's bringing through these energies, I'm feeling the flow without getting the words. Yeah. And so that actually has been going on every day to a more or less extent. It depends. Yesterday, we went up to the caves. I sat in the cave. And there's actually 2 caves. I sat in the first cave and I felt the connection there. And I basically heard the message, we are here with you now. And I just sat in the energy of communion, that energy of oneness. And then I got up, took a breath, and went to the next cave where I basically was in that state of surrender, saying, guide me. And basically, I felt this kind of energy of be that which you are. And I looked down because my shoe had bumped into something that I didn't notice when I went in and sat.
Right.
And the something has meaning on a couple of levels. Let me lift it up and show you. This is a tree limb that is
right there. That's how they want to look at it.
In the shape of the crook.
The Egyptian pharaonic crook. And and especially as we're holding it, and it almost looks like an artifact in the way that it is. But I think, Shri, even more important is now show them your fingers. All right, hold on. There we go. Let's see. Or maybe yesterday I was having too much fun with it. There we are. So you see the charcoal? This is from the fire.
So
remember, we had a huge fire here where we almost lost this land.
What the symbolism, the meaning for me is this side of the stick looks like a normal stick. This side is charred.
And it's the crook. I want to get out of the way so you can really see it again.
And it is the crook.
There it is. I mean,
so we have the balance of that which was unharmed, that which was burnt. We have the claiming of the power of the Pharaoh, and we have the gift of the divine surprise, saying, "If not now, when?"
And our caves we have 3 landing spots on the way up to the caves, which we have really identified as like 5th dimension, 7th dimension, and then 9th dimensional energy. Well, we recently put in a new pyramid at the 7th dimension. And so we had spent a lot of time in the pyramid when we were going up yesterday too. So there was just a lot of this energy. Now, why are we sharing all this with you? Because the universe is saying to Shri and I, you must come out more. Mm-hmm. You must do even more. And we are so humbled and we are clear when we are hearing it. And we are sincerely, guys, if ever there was a definition of infinite source of energy, are we being blessed with it right now? Because all we are doing, it feels like we're bringing in encyclopedias of information and trying to get even snippets out as fast as we can. That is the energy of resurrection when you say yes and claim. And so that came through yesterday. And then it was so clear that I was supposed to wear this today for all of us, myself included. And it brought me back to the ensoulment we did in the King's Chamber in Egypt. Because, well, it almost just took my breath away. And those of you that were with us in Egypt, we were very blessed to have rare access and incredible amount of time that they normally never allow. And I remember coming to, and I'm still in the King's Chamber. Those of you, the orb filled that are, there's so many orbs, you could barely see all of us. But it brought me to that moment of, we are all being asked to stand up. And I feel that the reason all of the Egyptian things came in around us as well was to pull us back over to that part of the world and to remember that, we are all God's family.
Yes.
We are one. We are one. And this moment right now is about a rainbow that transcends anything the mind could create. I mean, anything. So I want to read this email and then Shri and I are going to respond to the email. And then we're going to do something that we have not done before, my angels. And that is that we're going to invite you to sit back and hear a little bit about what the past 18 years have been like for us. Because there are things that we have never shared publicly, that we have talked about, and feel that in the energy of absolute radically naked authenticity, that this was the moment to share these things with you. For those of you that have been on the journey with us, you'll be able to click together and go, oh, I remember, or I see, or I now, it will help you. For those of you that are just meeting us, you'll get to really know who we are. Because this is the moment where the truth of who people are will be revealed. And so Shri and I will only ever invite anyone to be inspired to do something if we have ever done it ourselves. Yeah. And so it's just something we feel is important today. And so I want to begin with this email. Please. Because this email is really this email actually poked us to say, all right, maybe it's time to do this. Yeah. So here's the email. All right. This is from Anne. We love you, Anne. Here's her subject line, by the way. The 6 steps and my life script and a birthday mini soul reading all wrapped up into one. And we're going to accommodate all of that. And here we go. Namaste, Shri and Kira and this beloved community. I would love a mini soul reading for my birthday, and we would love to offer you one. Yes. All right. I have been riding this pandemic with relative ease because I feel like I have been prepped for it, having had many difficulties over the last couple of years. However, this week, I have felt a surge of life scripts coming up. Mainly, I'm not good enough. I have been triggered, keyword, hold on to that, guys. I have been triggered by a social media post that criticized a writer's positivity and lack of understanding of the trauma some people are experiencing. I was left feeling I may be lacking compassion for people who are struggling just now. Am I doing humanity a disservice because I choose not to look at the suffering? I know choosing to not go down the fear route is right for myself and my kids who are influenced by what I'm watching on TV. I feel like I'm seeing it, but I'm not in it. Yet I wonder if that's egotistic or selfish. I wrote a positive blog for children, but then doubted myself for not looking specifically at the trauma, but trauma has not been my children's experience. I have found the 6 steps very useful for noticing the thoughts and leading me back to the life script, I'm not good enough. I would like your advice on dealing with the push and pull of my heart versus my life script and the external interference if it is of benefit to others in the community too. One last thing. I have seen the number 44 literally everywhere recently. It's practically shouting at me. I bet it is. Love and Easter blessings to all. Anne, namaste, Anne. Thank you for sharing. Now, Anne, there is so much to unpack here, especially about what's happening today. Remember that today is a convergence of energies. Today is a moment to see that it's going to take the energies that are coming, and you're going to hear more when this ensoulment comes in, which is where Sri and I have been getting a lot of this information. It's going to take all 3 of these overarching traditions around the globe unified in ascended presence to call forward the next evolution. And there's enough of us that are doing that it's pretty much assured. And yet, because of the world we are in, you're also going to see how these can become very polarizing in other ways. So you are in many ways reflecting both sides of the way that our energy is channeled through our process. But the first thing I want to do is turn it over to Sri, and then we just want to unpack a couple things here because you did invite it for the whole community, and there are a few things here that are really important to note.
Well, I'm going to just head back to the first thing she said, which was revelatory, which was I was triggered by a social media post.
So stop right there. I was triggered by a social media post. Number 1, congratulations for seeing that.
Yeah, because social media is outside of your truth, your authenticity. This is the river of delusion, illusion, and sometimes great authentic connections, but it's scattered. So the fact that you were triggered means it did, in fact, slip under your ascended radar and trigger that life script.
Well, and so here's the key now, my love. If you know that you're being triggered, I mean, your entire doubt spiral came by some person who is not holding your level of consciousness, who is just angry and activistic, right? Sri, do we have a spiritual pyramid awakening as a slide? We don't? We need to do that at some point. Yeah, we don't. Okay. Right. But go to the victim triangle. Let's do that instead. Next one down. That one. Yeah. So here's why I'm going to put up the victim triangle. Remember, everyone, we are at a moment, especially today. Today is a moment to make that choice. Do you want to stay in the victim triangle? That is 100% victim consciousness. The person who wrote the social media post is the abuser in this category, right? The victim is most likely the person who first wrote, right? And then the rescuer in some respects is you. Yet I see all of you changing that role. It's like each one of you could be a different part of that role. So the other key would be, if I'm going to learn that I am triggered by reading certain social media posts, then I can transform the victim part of me that's seeking the abuser or the need to rescue by mentoring myself through the process of learning the teach mode and then healing, right? And this is where I want to turn it over to Sri.
So I apologize if you're feeling like we're really getting in there, but this is such important, a beautiful learning.
And this is the day to transcend it, right? Naked authenticity.
So 2 things happened here. One is there was the usual whatever out there in the world, in this case social media, that carried with it a touch of Velcro that triggered you.
Right.
And you saw it. So that is half the battle right there. Success. I noticed I was triggered. The next step is you then moved into self-doubt, which was your opportunity to correct a little more quickly. You got there, but I'm just pointing out, the moment we know we're triggered, the moment we have self-doubt, we have activated a negative life script. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that terminology, every human being, every human ego ego has 4 very common life scripts that are negative, and we're not going to get into that here because it's part of the Navigating the Inner Matrix program.
Well, and that's the one thing I wanted to compliment Ann on.
Yeah.
The fact that you know your life script means you did Navigating the Inner Matrix, which means you have the tool to come out of it and you're using it. And so go, check out it. And as a matter of fact, that's even one of our services right now, is that the program with a personal coach is half off. Just go to ShrinkCare.com and learn about it.
So the most common life script on the planet is there's something wrong with me.
Always.
Now, what happens when people are running that script, because it's an ego lens,
right,
oftentimes, instead of having to feel the uncomfortability of something being wrong with me, they project it out on the world and say there's something wrong with you.
Well, and then a lot of us, there's many dogmatic traditions where the minute you're born, you're guilty.
Yeah.
Right now, you got to unwind. You were born, you're guilty. And so take that one in too, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like the inherent life script. So no one can escape it.
And so we're taking this step by step. So I'm triggered. I realize, okay, I think there's something wrong with me. I'm doubting. Then the next step is we use what is in the Navigating the Inner Matrix, the SAFE practice, to reestablish our spiritual center and to kind of just smile at that ego reaction that is part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to run you. And it takes a little practice to step out of it.
And those of you that have taken Navigating the Inner Matrix, dust off the SAFE practice. And if you've been using it, then say thank you too. Yeah. Because this is that moment. And so the other thing, Shri, that I wanted to talk about in this beautiful letter was about you took action. When we are feeling guilty about the blessings being given to us, the signal we're sending to the universe is stop giving them to me.
Yeah.
So that's actually how we stay in a lateral spiral. Remember, we're all in this spiral of consciousness right now. And for those of you that are not sure what that is either, go to lineageholder.com. Hold on, I gotta, my chair needs to, sorry guys. Go to lineageholder.com, go to the posts and download, it's free. Read the 6 steps, divine ensoulment from the divine directors, because this is what's happening, is that you wrote a positive blog and then immediately doubted yourself, which undercuts the energy of the blog that you post, the post you made. When we do something and then doubt it immediately, that's literally the devil angel on the shoulder. And what that's saying is that I don't trust, thereby I cannot be trusted. I want you guys to remember that. I always share this with you. Best advice ever given to me by my stepdad. He said, don't ever trust those who do not trust. And so really feel into that. And so are you trustworthy with the magic of the universe? Or are you just going to throw it out there? Are you just going to treat it like nothing? Or is it something that is so sacred that it demands that that all of you is the temple?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I just want to say once again, Ann, thank you for sharing
this
your
is
humanity.
Awesome. We are so proud of you.
Every one of us goes through this. This is nothing to be ashamed of, so to speak. It is simply the evolutionary process of the cycle of the ego being triggered and learning to trust your soul's guidance.
And everyone is doing this. And the last thing we want to share with you, because all of this has been your birthday gift from us. We love you so much. And thank you for the beautiful mirror of gifting it to all of our community, because so many are going through this right now. The last thing we want to finalize with you is this. Of course, you're seeing the 4-4, my love. The 4-4 is the cross of perfect balance.
Yes.
And that is what all of this is inviting you to do. When I gaze into your energy field for your birthday reading, I see an ignition of a 6-pointed Merkaba, and it's like you're sitting in it and you've got your hands on the steering wheel, but you're not sure. You're waiting for something to happen. Angel, all you have to do is say, go. You're the captain. And this is going to be an amazing year for you. We love you so much, Ann. Thank you. Many blessings. Namaste.
Many blessings indeed. Yeah. And, just as a kind of wrapping that up a bit, well, first, I'll take a breath. I'm touched by her vulnerability and her sharing.
Exactly.
And the reminder that in order to achieve a spiritual attainment or a level of oneness, a level of consciousness, we must continually re-up. We keep climbing the temple steps, so to speak. We keep having to work with that which separates us from the oneness. And that which separates us is managed by the ego self. And that's part of the earthly birth. Is we go through the veil of forgetfulness, we get an ego, and then all of a sudden we wonder what happened, and we start using the tools of the ego.
And all the while, we are loved so much that Spirit will always keep you on a need-to-know basis, my angels. Always. The reason is that we are here for the experience. We are the oneness. We are the allness. We are the co-creative force. And within all of that is more than enough room for all of that. And it is only through our own ownership of the contraction as part of the allness that sometimes we forget the expansion. And that's really what's here right now. And so as part of that, Shri and I really wanted to talk about spiritual generosity, what that means. And we wanted to model it through offering just a little more of an in-depth sharing about what the past 18 years of public service have been like for us as we are saying yes to an up-level experience in all that we do. And so together, we are all creating this up-level moment. And, you know, as one of our faves, Reverend Ike used to say, that's for me. And I hope that's for you too.
Yeah, and just to give further context on that, one of the beautiful things from Reverend Ike was to look out at examples in the world,
right,
of what you choose to claim.
And not feel guilty about looking at it.
Yeah, instead of feeling jealous or feeling lack, you go, oh, someone's having an abundant experience.
Woohoo!
That's for me.
Yeah, baby.
Someone is succeeding. That's for me.
Soul mirrors.
Someone
that's a
is
soul
healthy.
mirror.
That's for me.
Holding the highest at all times, right? And so this is really a profound moment. And, you know, as Shri and I have gone through all the things that we have gone through together and been blessed to do, I really know that it has been the spiritual generosity. Yeah. You know, that spiritual generosity for us is the foundation of the yoga of self-ascension. And as we opened up the show with today, the purpose for being, our sacred intention for being, the sacred intention for the yoga of self-ascension is to listen, to love, and to hold the space for enlightenment. And so we wanted to model for you what that has looked like for us and brought us to this point where we are saying yes, probably in a greater way than we've ever. We thought we were all in before, and all I can share with you guys is that the spiral keeps evolving, and what a ride. Yeah. And so Shri, I will let you decide how you would like us to flow, and we thank all of you because we feel that in this sharing to you right now, we can assist you to gaze at what's going on around you as well. Yeah. And to know that we're all walking this together. We have each other's hand. We might be on different trails, but we have each other's hand and we can see and honor the trails. That's the beauty of it. That's the rainbow, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so some of the things that we're happy to share with you today are some of very personal, you could call them struggles, but they were personal gymnasiums, things that helped us become stronger. And one of the things I want to remind all of us is that there is an ever-refining evolutionary path. And that in that ever-refining, for us, we have discovered even subtler levels of the ego that are seeking healing, seeking to trust the oneness. Yeah. We have discovered areas that we were holding on that now are up, have come up and have been cleared, and that we keep going, because to surrender is not a one-time thing. Surrender is one of the 4 steps of being in sacred union. That includes releasing judgment. Well, if I surrender, then I got to let go of my thoughts about things, right? and what I think is supposed to happen. And so, as I reflect back when Kira and I first got together, that was in the year 2002.
And, we had such a naivety, guys. Even when this poor man, even when Zodkiel first showed up, and then accepting the mission, I was like, no way. I was like, I am not doing this. I don't want anybody to ever even know about this, because I always said I was the idiot savant of all of this. Yeah. So it was a really fascinating entry into everything that we are now.
And so in that moment, just when Zadkiel first came through and presented, I wrote about this in Sacred Union, The Journey Home, how there was a moment when this angelic presence entered through Kira Ra's surrender that I didn't know if my beloved was having a psychic break or if there was an angelic presence.
And as a psychologist, he's trained to know. I think he was like looking up the manual,
And so I let go of the mental lesson or paradigm of what is mental health, and I just connected with the energy that was radiating from her and the pure love. And the more I relaxed into that, there was this golden field all around us. And when the voice of Archangel Zadkiel began to speak and said, "Hello, we love you, we have waited for this moment," I just melted. I go, what is this moment? What's happening? And what was shared was that there was a soul mission or contract that we had taken birth to do, and we were asked, do you still want to do it? The option was still there. And without fully knowing everything that would be required,
thankfully,
we moved forward. And this is when Kira said there was a little naivety. None of us really knows what will be the journey of releasing your ego and anchoring in ascended consciousness.
And the layers of this. I think when we first got together, we were both right at that river between spiritualized ego and ascension awareness. And because of Zadkiel, we were able to really move through that together. But what we have over the past 18 years, and what we want to share with all of you, is that if anyone offers you a rosy ride the whole way, then really check in with what inside of you needs that to feel safe. It wasn't long after Sri and I said yes that all of the energies and it was all of the lessons and all of the things that we had to go through as a couple that would have torn us apart and done terrible things. All of that came up. We've been through some incredible things that you would say, wow. And, not the least being that I lost both of my children. And I'm so aware that was so that my path could be cleared to really remember that we not all each other's children, and to really be available to hold the highest in that energy. And to go to the other sides of that. I think about how many times we had our home literally stolen from us by a con artist, and I mean other things that have happened, and yet we have continued to say yes. And oftentimes we would have requests made of us by the archangelic realm at a moment where we would look at each other and go, "How are we ever going to do that?" But in saying yes, what we can share is that over 100% of the time, that yes manifested. I even think about how the whole divine galactic blueprint came in,
Well, yeah, and to put some specifics around this a little bit, as soon as I married Kira, my birth family said, "You're too weird."
And to this day, I am shunned by his birth family.
And the same thing happened in many other cases in friendships. And how many of you could relate that as you begin to claim your spirituality, those who you were in a consensus relationship around a certain worldview, when your worldview changes, they may not like what you're claiming as real.
All of my spiritual friends, and remember, Sri and I got together just as I was culminating working in the back of a metaphysical store. All of my friends, 100% of these awake, spiritually accurate people that I had really respected and loved, not only kicked me out, and I was bringing in more customers than anybody, but they told me Sri was Satan and that getting together with him was the worst thing I would ever do. I mean, we really were lions coming out of the woods, and we got attacked at every level.
And here's the thing is that the forces that would stop your expansion often come in the sheep's clothing, so to speak. Kira mentioned that we lost our home to a con artist. Well, the con artist was actually a very quote unquote loving member of the community that was gathering at that time and offered to take over the ranch while we went to Guatemala to connect with the ascended abode at Lake Atitlan and to be in that energy, and ended up basically stealing the place.
Literally
forging a title.
Forging a signature and all of that. And then brought people in and stripped everything we'd ever put there, including the ashes of our first community member who had transitioned, whose dying wish when Shri and I were honored to be with her during her transition was that her ashes would be permanently kept in the Tosa Ranch temple. Instead, they were just thrown out. And so it was a profound moment for Shri and I. And all of my daughters who already are estranged, my beautiful young daughters, the only keepsakes I had of them were thrown out. My childhood, thrown out. And so I literally don't even have a picture. And what I find so beautiful about that is that what I do have is 100% connection to that which matters, and to see the sense of there is nothing we need to hold on to. And if we keep saying yes, the bounty and the miracles that come forward are incredible. And right now, this moment is going to be about expansion or contraction. We're going to be bringing you the divine director soon after Shri and I share just a little more. But we're sharing this again with all of you to say that were there times where we had no idea what we were going to eat tomorrow? Yes. Have there been times when we were just like, oh my God, almost every property we've been with, there's been these last minute, like, what is going on here? Yet all of that brought us to now. And we really, I remember getting my heart broken in the spiritual community. How many of you have had teachers or people you trusted or people you thought were so ascended, only as you wake up to watch them not champion your awakening? That's when the truth is shown, right? And I remember Shri and I, we produced several beautiful events back in the day. And I remember the first one where a lot of very well-known people, I mean, we do know a lot of people, came. And one of them, who I just love so much, walked right up to me and said, "Hey, Kira, do you have my check?" And I remember my own naivety, my own shattered things, but none of it stopped us. We didn't let it stop us. We didn't let it become the reason to sell out, because that's why they all sell out, guys. It's profitable.
It's every step of the way, and each of you will have your own stories and your own opportunities to set a healthy boundary. Because one of the things that's ironic is the release of the ego is moving into a no boundary state of consciousness, yet understanding healthy boundaries is part of how you get there. Or said differently, the ego has to heal a bit before it can be released. Otherwise, it will sabotage your evolution. So when we set a boundary with our partners in pain, when we set a boundary with family members who are no longer contributing to healthy relationship, when we say no to some energy that is bringing you down, you're actually saying yes to yourself. A no is a yes. And a yes has the other side of it, of the no. Because of the polarized cooperative world, both energies are there. Don't fool yourself. When we say love and light, the light includes the dark at a certain level of consciousness.
Absolutely.
That's where it is. At a higher level of consciousness, there is light and no light. But at the level that most people are operating in, there's light and dark, because that is the polarized playground of evolution.
So Shri, as we're sharing all this with you, we really want you to feel our hearts, that we have stayed steadfast on this journey. We have had death, transition upon us more than once. We have had people throw attacks at us. When we were living in Guatemala, we had many shamans who told me that there were people actively doing ceremony to kill me. I mean, we've been through it all.
Yeah.
And you know, and Shri, I know you've been through some things as well. And we want to talk about this in the context of the healing energy of this moment, guys, because in this moment, it's about looking at the totality of what you've been through and really inviting in the birth, inviting in this unified field of resurrection. We are all in retreat right now. What are you birthing?
Yeah. And so I do want to underscore something, that this sharing is not about us.
Exactly.
This sharing is a reminder that in order to resurrect that which is your highest, purest energy, we must be like the phoenix, rising up from the ashes. And sometimes it's good to look at what, have you let go of it? Have we forgiven the past? Because to have a bright, beautiful future means to give up all hope of a better past. And so those energies are part and parcel of the resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're here to celebrate what is emerging. We're here to celebrate what is pure and good and unifying and beautiful. And we're also here to honor with love and respect the path that has brought us to this place.
You know, if we were to unify all of these beautiful traditions that are right here in the April peak right now, in my heart, the way I experience Passover is as the lift in consciousness. That when our consciousness lifts into our multidimensional space, we are no longer affected by that which is coming from a frequency that is less than. We are literally passed over because we are not even seen, because we are now seeing. We are of service.
Yeah.
And then that's being amplified through the sacrifice, because again, there's a little bit of sacrifice in each one of these, right? You know, Passover, there was the sacrifice of the blood and the lamb. And so there's a little bit of that. But the sacrifice, again, is the ego. And so if we were to look at this resurrection moment as perhaps it is our ego that has said, I am ready to be released. And as we release that and call in the Christ consciousness, that Christo energy, and really bring that into our heart, unified with this higher multidimensional presence. And then as we come forward into this illuminated new moon where Ramadan opens, we look at the month of fasting. Well, maybe that month of fasting is fasting the ego, giving the ego a month to relax and a month for you to fully create through this unified presence. That's the gift before us right now. But to do that, all of this, anything that got you here, this is a moment of rainbowic celebration. Call it all forward. Look at it one more time. Can you see it for the blessing and the gift that was presented in front of you? Or are you still wrestling with it? And if you're still wrestling with it, it will not stop you. It's your invitation to love you more. It's your invitation to forgive you it more and still harness the blessing of this moment. So that's why we're sharing with you today, because it's also part of our little coming out party, that there is so much to share and we're doing it as fast as we can, because in this moment, if ever there was a time to demonstrate together we are better, think about last year. My husband is alive today because of you, and I thank you.
And it is that bond of love that keeps all of us going. And certainly my return from the Bardo April a year ago was everything about love and the recognition of the commitment made and the promise to be kept, and the recognition that so many beings were saying yes to each other. So we are here to support this ascension of consciousness. The Christ consciousness is already here. What we are doing together is we're polishing, we're wiping off the debris of density, we're discarding that which we have outgrown and evolved through. And each of us has our own journey there, because your path, your life is your spiritual path. And whether you're attending to it consciously or not is the joy factor. However, it's still happening. And we happen to know that to live a conscious life is far more rewarding than to live a reactive life.
Absolutely. Just absolutely. It's so true. And so, Shri, let's talk about the healing of this moment.
Yeah.
Maybe take a few people that have had their hands raised. So again, as we start talking about all this, those of you that may have a question for Shri, you can raise your hand by pressing *5. And of course, if you've called into the 800 number, my throat is going to need water. Shri, can you share that?
Yeah, we're having a little trouble with the internet connection over at the 800 number. I was trying
I'm so sorry.
Multitask there. So right now we're going to ask you to ring 517-208-1500, and that one is working.
I need everybody to go to their truth chakra. So here's what's interesting, guys. There are some interesting energies watching today's show. And so for all of you that are here in the divine love and presence of this incredible moment of resurrection, let's receive a beautiful gift of clearing energy, to not be afraid of our truth, to not be afraid of who we are, because when we stay in our divine multidimensional presence, we are invisible to that which would seek to harm.
Absolutely. And we are at a time where we can look at what is emerging. What are we resurrecting? Are we resurrecting doubts and fears? Are we resurrecting trust and love? Are we coming forward with greater authenticity? Or are we in a holding pattern? Because what's interesting to me, I had our morning tea, I was chatting with Kira this morning. I said, when this whole worldwide shutdown came about as a result of the virus and the actions to the virus.
It's a reaction.
The context against which we lived our lives changed.
Right.
I'm still here. You're still here. You're still who you are. Yeah. Yet the backdrop shifted. And therein your meaning changed. What you're choosing to use from the backdrop, the outer world, the backdrop of your existence, is giving you a key information as to where's your default. What were you relying on that you weren't fully conscious of?
Now, really breathe this in, because I when Shri was sharing this, I was like, oh my God, honey, this is so brilliant. Because when we hear what you're sharing, Shri, it's all about, if you honestly are in the piece of the yoga of self-ascension, if you are really walking the walk, then all you did was step into a new set, right? You've been working in whatever that world was. This is what a timeline slide can look like.
Yep.
Here's the good news. If you're that good at it, you can keep going.
And so we have an opportunity here to, number one, get clear on where was I attached. And attachment always has an element of fear. So therefore the fear comes up and shows you where you were attached. Okay, let's heal that. Now, where am I going? Because so often if we only focus on the attachment, we might lose sight of where are we going? Where's your vision? What do you choose to resurrect rather than what is the knee-jerk reaction that is in front of your consciousness?
Right.
It's important to honor it all and then set your boundary. I choose to pay attention to that which is wholesome and emerging, and I'm not going to look at the social media because it's filled with disinformation and, frankly, delusion.
And I know it triggers me, right? When we are aware, the good news is we have enough tools in our toolbox to call forward that awareness. And Shri, I'm smiling because you're really reminding me of that old saying, no matter where you go, there you are, right? That's what this is. That's what this moment is. And so if the you that you are is at peace and really grounded in that truth, then this is just another moment to say, okay, now how do we create with this? Rather than, oh my God, I can't create with this. So it's very much about the multidimensional presence. And Shri, I'm hearing that to really offer the greatest service right now, that we should read the new Divine Directors and Soulmate.
Okay.
And then what we will be, so what we're going to do, guys, because we're getting clear guidance to do it now. So we're going to invite you to relax and to really relax. And we're going to, if you're watching the video, we're also going to be putting up some slides so you can read along as Shri and I read this really profound message that came in from the Divine Directors, literally, guys, about an hour ago. And then right after that, we are so blessed and honored that we are going to offer you a 8-minute meditation with music that was created by our dear friend David Raphael. And this is over at artainment.com. This is only the first 8 minutes of the full hour. And so, again, we want to invite you in this moment to we're going to share the ensoulment. We want you to just receive it. We're still kind of receiving it ourselves. Yeah. Then we invite you to take the energy of that receiving into this beautiful 8-minute space. And then when we come back, Shri and I are going to share a little bit more about that ensoulment and start taking all of your phone calls and offer you some special resurrection healings. So I just clearly heard that before we went into the readings and before we went into the healings, this energy needed to be introduced on this beautiful day.
And so we all have an opportunity in every moment to be born anew.
Yes.
Every moment I am born anew. And this is why to keep one's eyes on the divine at all times means in every moment, I am amping up into my Christ consciousness because my focus and my love are there. And so with that reminder and invitation, let's take a look at this beautiful ensoulment.
Take in a breath and relax. This came in today, April 12th, 2020 at 12:47 p.m. in Ecuador. A message of resurrection from the divine directors.
We love thee and welcome thee with the open arms of the eternal presence, meeting your open arms of creation. From now, through the end of the experience of time known as May, will be the energy of contraction or expansion. This is the peak of the peak, up-level energy, and it will culminate with the last day of Ramadan. Open your mind as you expand your vision. Ignite your heart and heal the world. Breathe within and call forward the inquiry, what is fasting and forgiveness? What does a month of steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust look like? And are you willing to do what it takes to stay the course? This is the PhD in Ascension Consciousness Mastery moment for all.
There will be those who lift rapidly into full ascension consciousness. They have stayed the course and are here to open the realms of the ascended heavens for others. This is their divine mastery service and mission. There are even more who will open their eyes through the self-revelation of the illusion of the ego and how it has brought them to this moment. Through the gift of true self-love, they will call forward honest forgiveness and arise into their ascended presence. For they have toiled and continued. They have ignited their ascended heart through sincerity, love, and presence. And the majority will be in the heaven of their choice as they feel the divine empowerment of their collective spiritual activism. This energy has been building for many of what you call years. Through this power-filled momentum of the magnetic polarity, the strength of this experience has given rise to the fulfillment of the highest aspects of density consciousness and the support that density consciousness needs to stay robust.
For those who have chosen to stay in the density experience, they are dancing with delight. All that they can vision through the limited eye of the self that is focused upon self as the all is now manifesting. The delusion of the illusion has called forward the energy frequencies that support conspiracy, the frequencies that support confusion and fear. These energies wrap around the formed ego that is here to experience as much as possible. Thereby, it will do all it can to self-preserve. When self-preservation becomes the tool that steers the belief, then the belief becomes the addiction of the ego.
This is the moment when all addictions are available for the invitation to be loved, witnessed, rediscovered, and honestly released with love and forgiveness. This energy heals the self of density as it lifts up and through the spiritually activistic energy to open the eyes of healed presence as ascension awareness. Once anchored, you remember as you expand the self into full ascension consciousness, lifting effortlessly into the realms that transcend the ego as presence ignited with conscious awareness. Judgment, doubt, fear, jealousy, rage, competition, denial, greed, and lack energies all dissipate as they are merely tools that assist you to navigate the realms of creation. They are acknowledged with love and appreciation as the inward smile of unification blossoms again.
Once reunited with the pure stream of crystalline light that you are, the divine nature of your heart ignites evermore, and the creation begins again. Welcome home, beloved one. Let's take a breath together. As we are grateful for whatever was experienced, for whatever you did experience or did not experience, feel gratitude.
And thank you for giving yourself the gift of receiving this ensoulment. And we will be clipping out just the ensoulment portion of today's show and posting it at both of our YouTube channels, along with the homepage of ShriandKara.com, if you would want to connect with it again. So look for that later today. It will definitely be in there. And for those of you that are in the Mastery Mentorship app, of course, all of it will be available inside of the app as well. And so as we are breathing into all of you, during this beautiful meditation, again, we bow before the artistry and the mastery of David Raphael, who created that over at artainment.com. Thank you. I was experiencing this pulse wave of resurrection community. I was really feeling into all of you and the divine blessing of the combined moment of conscious awareness free of this fear energy.
Awareness free of fear is the awareness that isn't identified with the world of fear.
Yeah.
Fear is right there dancing in the environment, as well as love and joy and grief and sorrow, and all the frequencies are there. When we are able to be anchored in our divine trust, we notice what goes by, like the scenery when you're on a road trip.
Exactly.
And it's all part and parcel of the delight of noticing. One of the things that we need to remember, I believe, is that I am a divine being having my human experience. I am a divine being having my divine experience. Mm-hmm. We are a choice, and we don't need to exclude one for the other. We can, in fact, practice having it all.
And, you know, this really brings us to the healing resurrection moment, Sri, because fear plays out in a lot of things that we do. And I want to go back to a little bit earlier, Anne's email that we read, where she talked about the people that were cutting somebody down for not honoring the trauma enough. Bear in mind that every being is awake to the level of consciousness they carry. And so we love them as each being moves through. This is where spiritual generosity ignites. This is where you do something because it is the right thing to do, not because of the outcome you may hope to gain by doing it. And this affects us at all levels. And those of you that have taken my Bhagavad Gita class know that we talk a lot about this during there, that this is a moment right now where, and I love that this call to presence has been so unilateral, that the truth is illuminated, that we are all able to see the truth of who we are. And so, Shri, what's happening is that a lot of people are having a lot of physical experiences, a lot of emotional distress. A lot of, you talked about this earlier about, you know, has the essential you shifted? No. But has your relationship with the essential you shifted? Absolutely.
Yeah. So many people are, it's like you've stirred the pot, and that which had sunken below consciousness, you know, into the subconscious realms is kind of circulating, going, hey, I'm still here, you know, or you didn't finish with me, or something along that line. You know, we are complex beings. We have a lifetime of experiences, and the future is what you choose to make of it. So which parts of the lifetime of experiences are you going to carry forward? Sometimes our pain messages, our traumatic imprints are calling for love, and instead of resolving them, we just carry them along into the future in the same old status quo of sort of kind of there, but wishing it wasn't there, versus let's look at it, let's love it, and let's release it.
Ooh, breathe that in. And so, Shri, let's talk about the way that we can heal through this moment. Do we want to just invite in some of our callers?
I know that we have some
there's a
beautiful
lot
people.
of healing energy going on right now. And so let's go over to the call board, honey. Lots of people have been on hold for quite a while. All these people, wherever you want to go.
Well, we'll start here.
Okay.
At,
looks like New York. All right.
York.
Nassau, New York. Namaste. Welcome to the show. You have a question for Shri.
Oh, yes, I do. Hello. Hello, Shri and Kira. Much love. Hello, everyone.
Namaste. Welcome.
Whew, yes. So I do have a question for Shri, and it's in regarding, lately, well, it's been a while. Been having a lot of physical pain, even though I'm a Reiki. Um, I do Reiki. I'm a level 2 Reiki, and I pretty much have given myself, a lot of Reiki, therapeutic, but you still feel the aches and pain. And just wanted to ask Shri if I can have a um, uh, energy restoration healing, if it's okay.
Of course.
Of course. And do you mind if I look a little deeper into your energy field? Do I have your permission?
Of course. Yes, you do. Thank you.
Take a moment and breathe. Thank you. Thank you. And before I offer you a general response, is there any particular issue that is really calling your attention right now? Is there a particular thing that you would like me to talk about?
Or is it just the pain?
It is the pain, as well as, the fear, of course. But there is a little bit of doubt. And when I mean doubt, I mean, for example, if you don't mind, I'm seeing how a lot of love and a lot of people are coming forth and helping. However, how do I say this? Um, I'm here. I want to be in service so badly, so badly, but I want to do it from the heart. I see a lot of people offering their love and help, but for those that can't afford it, or for those that are financially, So here I'm like, oh, I want to be so badly. However, I heard that there will be an imbalance in that. But is there a wrong?
I want to say stop. Okay, I got to jump.
Yes.
I have to jump in.
Okay.
Shri's got a lot to share with you, sweetheart, but I have
okay.
to share. And this is one of the things that Shri and I love about this, is that we can really look at it from all directions. It feels very holding, right? You are covered in somebody else's belief system. So whoever you are listening to has more passion for their spirituality than you have for yourself. And that's the lesson. Your entire crown chakra right now is so alive and so illuminated, but it's covered with all these other, the lineage holder gatherings. One of the things we learn is it's all about steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. It was even in the ensoulment from the divine directors. You're being called to a higher level. Yeah. You're beyond Reiki. Reiki is a wonderful thing, but it's not going to take away the pain because your body is stuck between vibrational levels. Yeah. You either need to think back into where you were and do it well, or you need to stop doubting yourself and let go of these other people's beliefs, trust you, and move forward. And so forgive me, but your guides are screaming. They're like, you've got this minute, tell her. And then my husband has got the rest of it.
So let me offer an overall perspective.
Yeah.
There, you nailed it with the love.
Oh God.
Your heart is crying out for expansion. And the key here is to lift your context out of, male, female, worldly, child, parent, and lift right up into the global family, the universal love. I am a beacon of compassion, and I will trust my guidance as to how to take action. Now, the guidance piece is what Kira was referring to. When I look at your field, what I'm seeing is that the chakras that are calling out, saying, we hold the promise for your future, are your fourth chakra, higher ascended compassion, and your seventh chakra
is screaming.
It's about direct connection to divine wisdom,
yes.
Not direct connection to a teaching
or through somebody
or a belief
else
or an authority.
Yeah,
it's your direct connection to your divine wisdom. You have a channel waiting to expand, and that seventh chakra is going, I've got it, listen to me. And just remember I mentioned about boundaries earlier on. Just put up a boundary.
Yeah.
Anybody else's information, bless them. They're doing the best they know how.
They really
now
are.
You do the best you know how and listen to your guidance.
And you'll be amazed at how fast the pain resolves. I mean, you really will. The minute you get into the flow with you, everything smiles back. So thank you, because a lot of people are going through this right now. We're very grateful. Namaste, my angel. Namaste. You're so welcome, honey. We love you. All right, Shri, you got so many people waiting to talk to you. Oh my goodness gracious. Where are we going? To Massachusetts. All right. Namaste, Massachusetts. You have a question for Shri?
Yes, I do. Hello, Shri and Kara. It is so wonderful to speak with you.
Thank you.
Every day, my intention is to be of value in my life. And I would appreciate any energy attunement information you could give me towards that end.
Okay. And is there anything in particular that you feel you're ready to release, something that you've been holding on to that you know it's time to let go of?
Well, I have been feeling a very uncomfortable feeling between my heart and my throat chakra. I don't know what's going on there.
Thank you for sharing.
It's very odd. I've never felt it before, but I've been feeling it now for about maybe, 2 weeks.
Okay. And may I look a little deeper? Do I have permission?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, just 1 second, because yes, that came forward. And please turn off your other speaker too, or I'll do it here. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, just mute. There we go.
Okay. Okay, my dear. What I would like to offer to you is that you are literally going to be choking on your truth if we don't relax in and connect up into your guidance centers more fully. In order to be of service, it is an expansion of love, but love without wisdom becomes a recipe for heartache. Love without wisdom becomes pain, because it's like a river without any sides. When we bring wisdom in, what we're saying is, I choose to trust my divine guidance, and I apply my compassion in a way that it'll be more effective or timely. And that's one of the things. So your opportunity here is to relax your throat chakra into an alignment with the truth, because the truth is directed through your own divine guidance. It's not what you've studied or learned. The truth is what your soul is informing you is true, is authentic.
And I wanted to share with you that from beyond that, putting those two energies together, the minute you brought me here, I saw this huge wave of almost imbalanced energy that's saying, you're ready to grow, but there is a piece of the self that is still afraid. So it's been kind of pushing it away, justifying why it doesn't have to do it. And they're saying, relax, smile, and love you more. There is a moment at hand that you have called in. And so it is.
Yes, beloved. So you are at the precipice of a breakthrough.
Yeah,
enjoy the ride. Trust.
Indeed. Thank you, Angel.
Namaste.
Namaste. All right, Shri, where are we going?
Well, we have one here called Anonymous.
Anonymous with the hand up. All right. Namaste, Anonymous. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. And thank you for sharing your story along the way. That was great.
Thank you.
My question is regarding, since you were talking about fasting, how can I get my body in alignment and my mind in alignment with fasting? Because I know it's something I need to do, but my willpower is not always there.
Well, let me offer a general response that you might find useful. Some people feel that
Okay.
fasting is an elimination or a letting go of something, but fasting is actually a connection to something. And when we start bringing in the reality that I'm going to conserve my energy for my divine connection, I'm going to fast not only to cleanse that which is in the way, I'm going to fast so that my consciousness can expand and connect to my own divinity more fully, more consciously. Fasting has two levels. One level is to cleanse the body, but the other level is to remove the distractions from your spiritual consciousness.
Yeah, that the one thing that as you were sharing, Shri, I was connecting in with your beautiful guides here. Wow, are they really lovely? And they wanted you to hear, they're saying, remember that fasting does not always refer to food. And that the call you are feeling right now is a fast from the thoughts and the things that have distracted you. It's like you're going to go on that distraction fast and stay focused. And the other thing that I will share with you that has really helped Shri and I, that have over the years, I'll never forget one of those early days. I'll never forget when Archangel Zadkiel said, "You're going to fast for 40 days and it's going to begin on this day." And I kid you not, Shri and I spent 3 weeks eating everything we thought we would miss. It's just like, oh, well, then I want another spring roll and take me to the Vietnamese place for more pho, the vegetarian. And we did. And what was so amazing was that at the end of those 40 days, I was actually more afraid of eating again. It was like you learn to breathe and you learn everything. So the secret, or one of the little things I want to share with you is that when you pick up anything to ingest, whether you're fasting or not, has nothing to do with it. Maybe you're just fasting from junk, right? When you pick up anything to ingest, and it has really shifted my life, are you ingesting it for your soul or are you ingesting it for your ego? What is the aspect?
Ego.
Yeah, right. And so that's how we shift what we're eating.
Yeah.
Because we're loving ourselves enough to say, thank you. Thank you for being a reminder right now in front of me. I love you so much. And then do something that does satisfy the soul in that moment. And little by little, it works, honey. And so I'm really grateful you brought this
It's
up.
a wonderful question.
Yeah, and a lot of people are being called to this. And remember that we are in an energy of fasting. We know, especially as we move through this Ascension, Passover, Ramadan convergence, we are in the energy of so maybe it's a fast from destructive habits, wherever it brings you joy. And my last thing I want to share is that fasting is fast. It's always amazing to me how quickly it becomes your lifestyle. I've been literally fasting now for almost a year. Literally. And it's now my lifestyle and I don't even know I'm fasting. And I'm not suggesting it and I'm not encouraging it. I'm just sharing that there does come a moment when we become the spiritual energy of that which is the intention. And so it is your mastery that's even asking the question. Thank you, my angel.
Much
we
love,
love
dear.
you. Namaste.
Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Namaste.
I want to speak to that just a little further.
Please do.
Because oftentimes we move into the severity of a spiritual practice rather than embrace the nectar of the practice. Fasting is, especially when we first begin it, is kind of severe. It's like, wait a minute, I have to starve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, you'll learn that that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we learn to confront the ego piece of us that says, I'm starving. It's a belief system, nothing more. And when we talk about true soul nourishment, are you ingesting for the soul or are you ingesting for the ego? That isn't just about favorite foods.
No.
I need my ice cream or my chocolate bar. That's about ingesting belief systems. Do I believe that my body requires A, B, and C in order to thrive?
You know it.
That's an egoic density-based belief system.
Well, and I want to jump in here since we mentioned our beloved Reverend Ike earlier that, those belief systems, who's controlling what? Mm-hmm. Right? So many beautiful beings have said, if you believe it, you can be it. But the key is you need to believe it without any doubt. The minute the doubt comes in, you negate the belief. Many people say, oh, you're faking it till you make it. No, maybe you're creating it through your divine sacred intention. Being is the creating. Creating is the being. When the two are one, everything manifests. This transcends the law of abundance. The law of abundance is actually bringing it down a notch. When we become that unified field of the I am presence, we are the co-creative force in motion. We are that illuminated rainbow. We are here to listen, to love, and to hold the space for enlightenment, which is a very active thing. Many people here listen, love, and hold the space of enlightenment and think it means you're just sitting there in Buddha. That's one option. That's one way. However, the way of the yoga of self-ascension is very much Christ consciousness. It is to walk among. It is to walk among. It's what good is your own divine mastery presence if you are not radiating that and sharing it for others to do the same. In the end, it's about clarity, connection, and inspiration to listen. When we really listen, we are clear because we are not thinking of the self. To honestly listen means the self is not there. You are available to hear that which is being shared at a level that transcends the ego. To love begins with loving ourselves enough to be empowered as the presence that can embody and hold the space for enlightenment as the living, walking presence. That's the blessing of the yoga of self-ascension, to awaken to a moment of divine mastery presence that you walk into a room, people shift. You show up somewhere, people smile. You're the one in the family that most likely had the most challenging moment to arrive where you are. But that inward grace showers through you. We are collectively at this moment. The yoga of self-ascension transcends all the dogma. It is the simple release that says, I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me.
Oftentimes, people require a little dogma to get some momentum going.
Get you on your path.
Get a little spiritual momentum. Because the purpose of dogma, or the creation of dogma, it came from a spiritual intention that was then codified into a rule of behavior or a belief system. And the pure intention is this is a pathway. While it's still there, over time, most dogmatic traditions became very hierarchical, and there were those who guarded the dogma. At any rate, without unpacking that any further, it's important to recognize that every beautiful dogmatic tradition also has, what may not be advertised much, a mystical tradition as well. That those saints or monks or nuns that have gone through the dogmatic tradition have discovered the mystical connection, and it's in every tradition I've looked at.
Yep.
And I want to share something that ties this in also with the fasting, is that in my path, I began in Christianity, and I spent my apex moment in Christianity was I was the assistant to the minister at a Unity church, and I was about to go to Unity Village and get ordained in that Christian tradition, and I found great value in that, and they supported me. What happened was I had a moment where there was an opportunity to be in a front row seat when His Holiness the Dalai Lama was presenting at a conference in Portland, Oregon, some years ago. And I think that was around 2001. I believe.
It was right before we met.
And so here's how the story kind of ties into everything we're doing today.
Yeah.
I was very sincere. I recognized the divinity in this man. I knew very little at that time about, I had studied Buddhism, but I hadn't really connected with the essence of Tibetan Buddhism. So what I did, because I had the gift of a front row seat, is I fasted for 4 days before going to the conference. And my spiritual sincerity to want to connect to His Holiness the Dalai Lama took that expression. I will cleanse myself to be available to receive whatever gift is present. And so what happened in that moment was I was in the, at the line where he goes by and he shakes hands with people, and he just goes down this line. And he was going, hello, hello, bless you, namaste, namaste. And he took my hand and he stopped. And his handlers looked at him, said, no, you keep going. And he stopped and he held my hand and he radiated an energy of such love. It was so simple and almost deceptive, because he was just standing there in his body smiling, and his other hand went and said hello to some other people, but he would not let go of my hand until the energy that he felt I needed to receive was fully transmitted. And I felt, and this is a very intimate moment I haven't shared widely, I felt an energy move up and down my spine from head to toe. I felt it, you could call it, it was an initiatory experience. And it was mystical and universal. I was not given any chant. I was not given any sonnet. I was not given a sutra. I was given the energy that was behind all of those things, that underpinned those things. And in that moment, I broke free of any need to rely upon dogma, because I understood the truth and the reality of the direct connection. That was a moment of true liberation for me, and a great gift from His Holiness. And fasting was part of it.
Well, and I just want to say again, the power of sincerity, love, and presence.
Yeah.
And that when we hold that for ourselves, when we really call that forward, when we're not afraid of who we are, when we can celebrate it, when we love our path more than the opinions of another. This goes back earlier as well. Part of our own self-inflicted interference is when we do not, or when we forget. I think that's a better way to phrase this. When we forget that it's just so simple. It's steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. If anything is outside of those parameters, then in that moment, you're being invited to your toolkit of spiritual survival tips to get yourself back there. Yeah. Because you're never outside of the spiral. You're never outside of it. However, there are parts of it that are designed to confuse you. Remember that we are in a moment right now where it's going to be all about expansion or contraction. When we expand, we are sending the energy of spiritual generosity out into the universe. But in this moment, there will be people who are just going to want to pull the plug on everything. They're just going to say, that's it. I'm going to contract. Contraction is visceral, tangible fear. It says, I do not deserve. I am too afraid to receive. I'm going to stop the things that make me happy. I'm going to stop the things that support my spiritual nature because I'm that afraid. This is only going to last for about a month as far as an overarching energy, but it's a moment to look into your own heart. Are you expanding or are you contracting? Because you cannot do both simultaneously. And this is why lifting into your multidimensional presence, claiming inspiration every time you can during the week. And I do want to share that, Shri and I, we're witnessing what could potentially be the near decimation of the indigenous. And so we are kind of combining that with the fact that we have this incredible series, The Lessons of Light, that were gifted to us by the Archangelic Realm, that for the first time ever, we are being told now is the time to release all the codes that go with these and to share it. And so that begins tomorrow night. So, join us tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's donation only. We're doing it to help fund the clinic for the indigenous. And come on in. You can come in for as little as $4. It's 7 weeks of the 12 lessons of light at a moment where we're fasting. So maybe you're fasting from some social media surfing, and instead you're going to spend an hour or so with us on a Monday night. How about Tuesday nights? Come join us on Soul Mirrors for healing inspiration and weekly energy updates, right? Give yourself that gift. Those of you that are feeling called as lineage holders, you can still jump in. You'll get all the other videos Thursday nights when we meet. So those are just some of the things that we hope are on your calendar right now. Things that inspire you, because the ball is in your court. You are the master. And this is a moment of expansion or contraction. And it will directly radiate to you the energy that you are putting out. That's why the life scripts are being triggered. That's why it's all coming up. And that's why Shri and I are here to serve. Yeah. We are doing everything we can as absolute. This is not a time that's about money. This is a time that's about all of us saying yes to who we are, because together we are better. And in this up-level energy, in this resurrection moment, what are you birthing?
Absolutely. And there's so much beauty, goodness, and inspiration available to be inspired.
Woo!
One of the things, Sadkill, it just touches me constantly, is to remember that you are not your body and the mind is your servant.
The four knowns.
And the moment we really let that become our reality, I am in a union with this physical vessel, but I am not the body. And the mind is my servant, not my master. And the moment we orient in that fashion, then the pathway to true union and the pathway to ascension consciousness is open. And
it is.
We just need to be disciplined and keep going.
Well, Sheree, speaking of being disciplined, we have all these other people with their hands up.
All right,
Here we
let's
go.
Take another caller.
We're going to go to Minnesota. Is that where we're going?
To Minnesota. Hello.
All right. Namaste, Minnesota. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so glad I got through. I was asking my guides to help me get through today. Wow, so much has been going on, and I'm just resonating with everything you're talking about. But I really wanted to bring up, I've been having really bad head pain and like pressure behind my eyes, just like right on my crown, very painful in my temples. And I was kind of wanting some insight on that.
Sure. I tell you, there's some impressions. The way it works for me is there's impressions that are immediately transmitted. We'll talk about that, and then if we want to go a little deeper, I'll ask your permission deeper. But the thing I want to say in general about the head pain, and for all people who are having some,
a lot of people are having this right now.
Yeah, this is what we would refer to it as an ascension energy experience.
Right.
And the ascension energy experience in the head is about this opening that is upon us. The heart is the gateway, and it's the foundation for living in the body. And then we open the higher chakras in order to be connected to the deeper reality.
Yeah.
And so that head pain can in part be resolved by bringing the love of your own heart up here. So for example, a very simple thing to do anytime any part of our physical body has distress is one hand is on the heart and the other hand is on the area of distress. And we begin to relax and really anchor in the heart and feel the love of your own heart center expanding. And just let that expand. You might notice a tingle or a warmth in the hand that's on top of the heart. Everybody can do this right now. Connect to your heart. And as you do, you just feel that love expanding, and you affirm, I am connected to an infinite supply of love and light. I am connected to an infinite supply of love and light. And now with your intention, we take in a breath and we direct that beautiful love energy up the arm, around the shoulder, and to the other hand that is resting on that part of the body that is seeking greater comfort and resolution. And we create a channel, a connection between the divine love that is centered in your own heart and that area of your body that is seeking assistance. Doesn't matter whether your hand's on your head or your belly or your hip or your shoulder or your knee, whatever part of your body is saying, love me more. I wish to be in alignment and harmony with you and your sacred intent. And so now as we connect, in your case, dear one, to your sixth chakra, which is the chakra of spiritual connection. This is the chakra of learning the difference between the family of origin and the soul family. We are evolving through the learnings of our emotional body, which is the family of origin, taught us all kinds of emotional lessons. And we're evolving into the direct connection to our spiritual family. And that when our energy lifts, it asks us to come into balance those energies. Take a deep breath and smile and say thank you for whatever healing you just received.
Thank you, sweetheart. What a blessing. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, you know, Shri, one of the things that I just was really feeling while you were doing that was for all of you that many of you may know about the cosmic meridians, but I'm hearing we should offer you an attunement to the cosmic prime meridians on this beautiful day of resurrection energy. So to all of you that have been hanging out with us to the end of the show, you're getting a bonus attunement. So thank you for staying with us. So remember that the cosmic prime meridians begin right here at these points by the eyebrows, and they actually are two cosmic rays of light that are held open by our star consciousness, which is just above the third eye. And they resonate with this tone. And this is a tuner that we had created for offering a clearing. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to strike the tuner, give you guys the tone. I'm going to point it, and where it's going is right here at these 2 points, right? So when I point it into the screen, you want to feel it
just above the eyes and the eyebrow.
Right there, okay? And then when I wash it up, exactly. Then when I wash it up, just breathe it up and receive. So again, interesting energy, guys. Feel into your resurrection. What are you birthing? All right. And so bring a hand to your heart. We're going to take in a nice deep breath. I'm first going to strike this into the microphone so you hear the tune, and then I'll raise the vibration level up for you. There you go. I'm going to strike it again.
Feel it come in and clear.
I'm going to breathe up. And this will help a lot with the energy of the headaches and right now. And I know it can seem kind of wild. There are people all throughout the world that have been felt called to be carriers of these tuners. And so we'll let you know where, if you want to get an in-person alignment with this, you can hopefully meet some of them. So it is quite an extraordinary moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so let's take in a breath, my angels, because as we come to a culmination, Shri and I, with all of our heart and soul, want to invite you on this beautiful day to let go of the triggers, to let go of the delusion of the illusion, to really call into your heart the joy-filled recognition that in this moment of resurrection, you are birthing and you are already prepared, or you wouldn't be connected with this show. The choice before you is clear: expansion or contraction. What's calling you? And are you calling forward your tools to navigate it with conscious awareness?
Expansion or contraction. Sometimes we contract a little in order to get clear that we're choosing expansion. Yeah. So watch for that. And also remember that you have the ability to make a fresh choice in every moment. This is the one skill that I think it's been a key to liberation for myself. When we say out loud, I am constantly renewed, I am constantly renewed, every moment is a new moment of creation, then whatever trigger happened before does not have to continue unless you give it permission.
Yeah. And you know, I love that, Shri, because it works on every level, doesn't it? Our cellular body is constantly rebuilding itself.
Yes.
We are not stagnant. We can reshape our body. We can reform our lives. All it takes is our conscious awareness. And the minute we empower that, the full I am presence ignites the illumination of the violet flame of transformation. The ascended presence wraps its arms around us because we have said without doubt, yes, I am. And that is when the universe says, and so you are, and so it is.
And so, beloved ones, as we come to a close for today, I invite you to take a breath in and just think along with me as I say, I am the resurrection.
I am the resurrection.
And may you breathe deeply and trust and know that all is truly well.
We love you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for joining us at Shri and Kira Live. To have your questions answered, send us an email to guest@shriandkiraradio.com and check out more information at shriandkira.com. See you next week. Namaste.